Hello everyone, I'm going to be trying out some ARRTX acrylic markers today, and as you guys know, I am a digital artist, so I don't do traditional art that much, but ARRTX sent me this set and we're going to put these markers to the test to see if a newbie like me can do something nice with them. And this is a review, but once again, I'm a traditional art newbie, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. So unboxing these, it is a set of 48 acrylic markers. It comes with 5 replacement nibs, but no swatch sheet, which is a little disappointing. So the markers are a medium round tip that you can pull out and switch to a finer, smaller tip. So just looking at the caps and seeing the colors that they have, it looks like a fair range, but we'll see later on with the swatches how accurate these caps are. So I ended up taking all of them out of the box to show you that there is an organizer already in the bottom of the box, so you can keep it as a nice storage and you don't have to buy a separate organizer for it. I actually really like the organizer that it comes with because you can organize them the way that you want them to be and they'll stay the same order no matter how much you shake the box. So moving on to swatching, unfortunately the box did not come with a swatch sheet. So I was pretty disappointed in that because now I have to make my own scuffed swatch sheet. God, that's hard to say. So how accurate are the cap colors? I would say that they're okay. They're close enough to know what you're getting, but it's gonna be a tad bit lighter or a tad bit darker. But I will say it's definitely better than what I've seen with the other caps of like alcohol and acrylic markers that I've tried, the little that I've tried. I feel like the better indicator of the actual color is this window that you can see the actual paint through on the pen. So after you shake the marker and you mix the paint, you can see the exact shade of the wet paint through this window. But as you might know, even this isn't perfectly accurate because wet acrylic paint is lighter than how it dries down, because acrylic paint dries down darker. So all of that is to say why it's really important to have a swatch sheet with you whenever you use acrylic markers. You need to know what it looks like when it's dry. I don't know if other ARRTX sets come with a pre-made sheet or not, but this one doesn't. You also have to really make sure that you shake the marker before using these for the first time. I made the mistake of not ensuring that the paint was properly mixed. So the first time I swatched these, the paint was still separated and I got way darker swatches than what you're seeing in this video. So here are the swatches when I made sure that the paint was properly mixed. So this was my first attempt with these markers and it turned out alright, actually. I ended up really liking the shade of blue, so I decided to do something arcane related, you know, paint the town blue. So I'm gonna draw a jinxer who has dyed their hair blue. I know it might look like Jinx from the thumbnail, but it's not her. It's just a random jinxer that I made up. So I had a lot of hope in using these markers because that first attempt of the blue tiefling was actually really good. It was a smooth process and I was like, all right, let's do something bigger. But then in doing this page and while recording for the video, I struggled way more. Part of me feels like I'm not using these the way that they're intended to be used, because from what I see in the promotional pictures for this product, they're mostly being used to paint objects like rocks or bottles or even wood. And that's just not what I do. I'm using a notebook, albeit one for acrylic markers, but it still really felt like I was using them wrong. I don't know. The first thing I noticed with these markers is that they're really wet. Sometimes too wet, where it's like too much paint is coming out and it starts to pool and warp the paper. And I noticed this when my swatches dried down. Where on the markers that were really wet, the dried swatch had cracked. And I don't know if it's just user error, like if I'm doing something wrong, which is why they're so wet. Like maybe I shook them too much or something, or not enough. But it was pretty annoying. Like for some of them, after shaking a good bit, I would open the marker and then the paint would kind of like splash and drip on my desk because it splashed from opening the cap. And so it was kind of a messy experience. And this formula is like pretty thick. A coat of a single layer of paint is pretty opaque. So if you have a sketch underneath that you're painting over, chances are you're not going to see any of it coming through the layer of paint. This, for the most part, is a good thing, but I do think it will make some things harder to pull off because since it's so opaque that your sketch will not show through, you have to like work around your sketch to maintain those lines and the integrity of the sketch, which some people might not like, you know, having to be forced into that type of process. But this opaqueness of the paint is really good when it comes to overpainting and correcting your mistakes. So when working on the hair, I used the pink and yellow markers on top of the layer of blue as highlights, and they kept their vibrancy on top of the blue pretty well. I didn't have to go over them multiple times. And what I like about them is that the colors are just really nice. I didn't have to worry about putting multiple layers to get the opaqueness that I wanted. They didn't like lose any vibrancy or anything like that. The color range was pretty good that for the longest time I couldn't figure out what I wanted to draw for this video because I couldn't figure out which colors I wanted to work with because I wanted to work with all of them. And I hovered over drawing multiple tieflings so that I could just use like nice shades of red for their skin colors and other colors. But in the end, I came crawling back to that blue that I used the first time that I tried them. Another thing that I mentioned in the beginning is that these pens are double-sided, meaning the pen nib is double-sided. And in order to switch it, you need to pull the nib out and switch it to the other end. And I found this to be kind of a hassle. What I also ran into when using these is that you really have to make sure you have some type of scratch paper to test out the marker on at all times. Maybe this is just a general acrylic marker thing where you have to do this with every acrylic marker brand, but I'm viewing everything as a newbie and I'm probably doing a lot of things wrong, but I have to admit, like I really struggled with this aspect of it because acrylic markers is supposed to make working with acrylic paint easier, right? And me, I don't like working with paints because I don't like to mix paint. And I'm kind of expecting the color to just like be ready to use, I guess, when I open and shake the pen. But then there's an extra step of having to scribble on another piece of paper to like really make sure that the color is accurate that I found a bit bothersome because sometimes there would still be some remnants of unmixed paint on the nib that you kind of have to like get off so that the mixed paint would start coming through. And this would happen pretty much every single time that I stopped using the pen for like a little bit. So once again, I'm viewing everything as a newbie and I'm probably doing a lot of things wrong, but I owe you guys an honest review, and to be frank, I'm not sure if I would recommend this set. I found these pens to be really messy to use, and it's a shame because I was pretty excited to try these out due to what I've seen other people do with ARRTX markers. Maybe this formula just isn't for me because from what I've seen of the other sets, the paint is thinner and those pens have a different pen nib that looks easier to use. It's not round and it's just tough. You know, like I'm starting to think that maybe these pens just aren't cut out for the type of art that I do, because the type of art that I do was kind of like nowhere to be seen in the promotional pictures for this product. And I don't think I really saw them use it in a notebook in the pictures too. These feel really heavy duty. Yeah, heavy duty is honestly the perfect way to describe these markers, I feel like. Like they would be really good for working on an actual canvas that's been prepped for acrylic paint, or wood, or other hard surfaces that can just like take the paint much better than a notebook can. So overall, I would say I think the price is pretty good for these. They're affordable and they still do get the job done, and the colors are pretty nice. But I would more so recommend these markers if you're going to use them for more heavy-duty projects like painting on harder surfaces or on an actual canvas. I think they're just a little too much for drawing in a notebook or a sketchbook like what I did today. And I feel like if you're interested in doing similar art that I do, ARRTX's other acrylic sets are probably way better for this type of art. And I'm just assuming that because that's what I've seen other people do, because those pens seem like they have a much thinner formula than this one. But once again, that's just my assumption because I haven't tried those. And who knows? You know, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm a digital artist and not a traditional one. But this is my review from the perspective of a digital artist who doesn't work with paint mediums as much, and I struggled with these. But hey, if you have some spare canvases and you want to try these out, I say go for it. Anyway, that is all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to ARRTX for sponsoring this video. All the links that you need to go check out these products are in the description. See you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you.